I actually think Emerald might be like the perfect first
Yeah,
Nuzlocke.
Nuzlocke.
Radical Red's actually a really interesting example because that's a game that actually changed over time. And when I say that it kind of depends on what game you're playing, immunities are more valuable in some games than others. Like I never thought you could play Pokemon on Twitch. I mean, it had existed forever. I just didn't know about it. So I was like, okay, I'm hopping online.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Skill Link podcast, where we get to know passionate content creators, competitive players, and all voices in between who make the Pokemon community incredible. Today's guest is a Nuzlocke Legend, completing a variety of hardcore challenge runs consisting of type locks, lizard locks, soul links, honey locks, and not to mention facing against some of the hardest and most brutal Rom hacks that exist, including Radical Red, Storm Silver, Run and Bun, and more. It's our friend Peter, or Whacko. Thanks for joining us today. How you doing, man?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, we're so hyped, dude. We were chatting a little bit before the call, but Josh was mentioning how he saw you on a couple of the P-Chals like speed run race that we saw that we mentioned a little bit later that we'll talk about a little bit later too. I saw a couple of your shorts that kind of when we were reaching out and things like that, and we were really excited to get you on the show. I saw a couple of your shorts. I saw some Radical Red stuff that was really exciting, and then of course there's the infamous Miltank paralyzation in that speedrun race that I saw that was really really fun too. That just made me excited to reach out and kind of get to know you a little bit more because kind of how we mentioned a little bit before the call too. But we're also Soul Link kind of as a side fun thing that we do on our channel. We do some Soul Links and stuff like that, and so you're our first Nuzlocker that we've ever had, and so it's fun to kind of get into that familiar territory with a friend on the show. So thanks again for joining us, man.
No, yeah. Nuzlocking's fun. The the specific Miltank thing is really fun. I've had a lot of people coming in to Twitch chats lately to call me the rollout guy. I don't know what that means, but
you're like, okay,
word.
is that a compliment,
Yeah,
or are you trying to
I've
say
got
something
a
else? Or
title now.
that's so
So
funny. That's awesome, man.
I'm excited to be here, and yeah, those videos are fun. So
Yeah, dude, that's
That's
awesome.
awesome, man.
Well, before we dive
That's great.
into like the nitty gritty of Nuzlocking and all the different things we could chat with about that, want to get to know you a little bit as well for those listening. So we saw that you're a basketball fan. I'm a huge basketball guy too. So tell us about that. Any other hobbies or interests that you have? I mentioned before as well that my family's from the Boston area. My dad, so I'm also a huge Celtics fan. So I saw your Tatum tweet from a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I think we're gonna get along. So
yeah,
tell us about that. Yeah, tell us about any other hobbies or interests that you have outside of Pokemon.
yeah. So I mean, I grew up playing sports. Big into soccer, big into basketball.
Yeah,
Never really watched soccer, so I don't follow it or anything. And then once I got to college, I kind of just stopped. Um, yeah, those two. Tennis I like as well, but no, basketball is fun.
yeah,
Basketball is something I've been watching and playing since I was like 14, that was 12 maybe. And yeah, I've always been a big Celtics fan.
yeah, man.
Um, yeah, it's just a sport that I love. It's a good time to play to watch. I'm hoping they win the championship this year. I feel like it's a
Bro,
good year to do it.
they
But
got to do it this year, man. Man, because last year was rough because that felt like a good chance to get back after losing to the Warriors in 22.
yeah,
And then it was just to be down 3-0 and then to come all the way back up against the Heat and then to lose game 7. I was like, that was like the worst possible way to lose, guys. Like, that
dude,
sucked, man. That sucked.
that
And
sucks so bad.
I know, man. I was hoping, I thought it'd been sick if we got, a Lakers Celtics finals. I was hoping for it because the Lakers are playing the Nuggets. I'm like, that's a great way to break the championship ties to have them play each other. But no, it's funny because I saw you tweet that, and that was on January 10th, and that was the night they played the Timberwolves and they beat them in overtime. That's when Tatum went off for I
Yeah,
think he had like 45 or something and made some crazy shots in OT. So I was like, yeah, that was
yeah,
a good one. So
yeah.
hopefully they win, man.
I get particularly passionate about like players and stuff. I like the Celtics. I really do. I'm like rooting for them, obviously over any other team. But
Mhm.
like I'm like definitely a player fan first.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I root for just like guys that I like. Tatum. I even like I like Ant, who we were playing that night.
Ant's
I think
awesome, man.
Anthony Edwards is excellent. Um, so, but yeah, Tatum. I just think he comes across as a good dude.
Oh, for sure.
His son's at the games. He works his butt off. He's confident. I
Heck,
like his top five comments.
oh yeah.
Where he's like, "Oh, I'm one of the best in the world." Obviously, like, yeah,
Right,
you are.
what else am I gonna
You're
say?
right.
Yeah, you are. What else am I gonna say? No, yeah, it's fun. I think as I've gotten older, when I was younger, I was a lot more like team oriented, and like you said, I'm still definitely a Celtics fan. But I think the older I've gotten, I definitely find myself pulling for and watching like specific players as well. So it's funny you mentioned that because I think I definitely fall into that category where it's just like, yeah, I'll still pull for my team, but yeah, I definitely have like specific guys I like to follow and kind of pull for. So yeah,
It's funny how you mention that because I feel like we like naturally as people have make hierarchies like just like in funny ways. So like first and foremost it's like our team, right? And then like or like you can be you can be a people person, right? So it's like okay, I like these two people, these two players or something like that, right? But if they're playing against each other, it depends on what team they're on. If it's on this team, then yes, I like this team better. I hope that team wins. And then if it's things like that, I just
Yeah,
think it's
Hmm.
hilarious how we do that like with sports and things. It's like okay,
Yeah.
so this and then this and then
yeah. No, dude, I'll have like matchups where like the Celtics are playing one of my favorite players, and I'm like, damn, I hope my favorite player scores 100 points and then they
Uh-huh.
lose.
Yeah,
Like I
dude.
want them to
Dude,
I hope.
it's funny whenever I tell people this is I don't want to get too far into having a basketball conversation on a Pokemon
This is
podcast, but
Basketball Link. Welcome everybody to Basketball Link, where we're talking.
yeah, I was gonna say one of my it's funny because just growing up with him playing my team all the time, I used to hate him, but now he's like one of my favorite players is LeBron. So now like if they play
Yeah,
each other, I'm like, okay, if the Celtics win, but LeBron like drops like 40 or something like that, then it's like, hey, that's a win-win for me or something or something. Or like if or I'm like, growing up I hated the Lakers, and then it's like LeBron went to LA, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do, man? You're like my favorite player. But I can't cheer for the Lakers. But now it's like you gotta pick and fight. So it's like it's just funny having those kind of internal conflicts now that I'm 28, 29, and compared to when if my 13-year-old self saw that, he'd be like, "What are you doing, man?" And I'm like, "It's not that deep, dude. Just enjoy some good basketball." So,
yeah,
anyways,
I love it. I love it. Well, now let's kind of get over kind of into the Pokemon side of things. So we're kind of curious, what got you into Pokemon? How did you get into Nuzlocking? And kind of just your basic, what's led up into your Pokemon journey.
yeah. I mean, Pokemon's been a thing for me since I was like 10. I remember playing Pokemon Emerald was my first game,
yep,
and I remember playing it on a plane ride. My family went to Disney World twice growing up. That was that was our vacations. That was the only vacations we did, but we did it twice before I turned 18. And my first time I played Emerald going down on the plane ride. It was nice. It was it has like a nostalgia piece to it. So that's where I got into it. Definitely loved the games. Didn't I don't know if like I don't know if I just like didn't have anybody around me that was like super into it like I was. So
mm,
like I did like never really dipped into like competitive or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wasn't until 2020, 2021, the pandemic,
mm,
when I saw Jan's videos, Peach Owl's videos,
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, I always wanted to be a streamer. Like I always wanted to make content on Twitch. That always sounded fun to me. But I was like, I didn't realize that was an option. Like I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Like I never thought you could play Pokemon on Twitch. Like I felt like Twitch was like a first person shooter website or
yeah, yeah,
like Fortnite website, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden people are playing Pokemon, and I was like, oh, this. I mean, it had existed forever. I just didn't know about it.
yeah.
Um, so that was what got me between the pandemic and finding out about Peach Owl and Emerald Kaizo. I was like, okay, I'm hopping online, and so the grind started from there.
I love it, dude.
That's
It was cool
awesome, bro.
because Nuzlocking had been a thing at the time, but it definitely felt like Jan running EK kind of catapulted the whole sphere of that. Because again, everyone was Nuzlocking, people were doing. I was aware of it. I 100% knew what Nuzlocks were, and I would even do stuff to myself. But it definitely feel like I remember. I mean, he obviously did a ton of runs of that, and when he finally beat it, that felt like a pretty landmark achievement for the community. And now you have people doing who he just covered it on his channel. I can't remember. Believe who I don't remember who the creator is, but did the deathless run of EK and yeah, dude, I was like, that's the most insane thing I've seen in my entire life. Like what are we doing, man? So it's cool to see how that's evolved and everything like that since that. And I came across you. It was you post so it's the first one of the first run and bun videos from it's 9 months ago or something like that. It was earlier last year because I know you've collabed with him a couple times. So love your style of videos, like how you edit. I love your thumbnails look awesome. Your content's great. You clearly know your stuff. You're an awesome runner. You're really fun to watch on top of being really good. I think that's what makes for a really, really enticing content creator. And you've run some of our favorite Rom hacks as well. So kind of getting more into this, like I mentioned, Logan and I have a specific soft spot for this kind of thing. Because we've done, Renegade Platinum, we've attempted Rad Red, we're trying a couple of other things. Logan, I was telling him about Elite Redux before you hopped on as well. And he's like, it's that's so the one with all the crazy abilities, right? Where every Pokemon has 4 or 5 abilities. And I'm like, yeah, it's the one. But as far as Nuzlocking goes, what's specifically so enticing about it to you? What's so exciting about it, or challenging, or rewarding about Nuzlocking specifically, or any of the adjacent type of runs like that?
No, Nuzlocke. What's enticing about it? I mean, it's the ability to play my favorite games over and over and over again,
For sure.
and actually get entertainment value. I think that's I think that's most of it. I mean, I can go on a long rant about. It's not really a rant, but I very nearly compiled a video about the history of Nuzlocking, and I know that some people have done it, but I don't think anybody's really dove into what happened in 2020 to 2021, where Pichal goes on this run with Emerald Kaizo, and I think you just saw new Nuzlockers pop up everywhere.
Yeah.
I was one of them. Moxie started, Squirk started, Prout started. There's a lot of, and I don't know that they all came from that, but I do know that they all showed up around the same time. And I think at the time, realistic. I mean, there were a couple of Nuzlockers in the space, but it wasn't like Pichal was one of maybe 4 or 5 prominent names that were Nuzlocking, and for the most part, people were doing randomizers. So, whereas Jan was not. But yeah, so it was a second part to that question. What part do I like about Nuzlocking?
Yeah.
It's just fun, dude. It's just, it's survival. It's a puzzle within your favorite games. It's it's just and also it's adorable characters that I've grown up using. They're dope.
I know, man. It's a win. It's an ultimate win all around. It's it's a puzzle. It forces you to use stuff you're not used to using. It forces you to problem solve. It forces you to strategize, and it's all within the context of the games that we loved growing up. It's I don't know, it's super replayable. Every run is different. And it's funny you mentioned that. How I agree. I think around that time when Pichal was wrapping up Emerald Kaizo, because I remember watching those. I remember following that super intensely. I'm sure that's not a unique thing to say. Obviously, a lot of people were dialed in on his run with that game, especially his winning run. I remember where I was when he was streaming it, and it's a pretty landmark thing. And I think that's about Logan when you and I were starting to be like, hey, should we for fun do Renegade Platinum? Yeah, let's do something. So not even just content creators popping up, but inspiring other people to just go out and just do it for fun. That's about
Sure.
when I know we started really getting into it as well. So that's interesting you mentioned that. So
Do you
Yeah.
remember oh, no, you go real quick. You go.
No. I did not have much to add.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna ask you, do you remember what like your first run was, like what game it was? I'm just kind of curious.
My first ROM hack.
Or your first run, like your first Nuzlocke run. I'm just kind of curious. What was the first game you did? Do you remember?
Well, okay. When you say did, do you mean like tried or won?
Ooh, let's do one. Let's do one.
One, I think my first ROM or the first run that I won was just standard Pokemon Emerald. I
yeah,
think that
Okay, yeah.
and the reason that happened was because I tried doing Emerald Kaizo first, got my teeth kicked in,
yeah,
and
dude.
said, okay, this is not happening. Evidently, there is a learning curve to this, and I am not there yet. So I'd never nuzlocked anything. I jumped into Emerald Kaizo. I think there's clips up there of like my old overlay. It was a mess. It was awesome. Like it was a beautiful like this is like baby's first stream.
yeah,
Terrible overlay. Like my audio sounded so scuffed. It was horrendous. It was
that's
awesome.
hilarious. I love it.
So yeah, but that was my first Emerald Kaizo was technically my first attempt, and then
Attempt.
Pokemon Emerald was my first ROM or
Run.
beat.
Run to
Okay.
the
That was just taking the advice of everybody who says if you're looking for a good first Nuzlocke, do the game you're most familiar with. So I
Yeah,
said, all right,
I like
cool, I'm
that.
in. Sounds great. Let's
for
do
sure.
it.
I love that. I love that. Now, kind of getting more into the ROM hack side of the conversation. You kind of mentioned one of the things that, and this is something that I've realized as well, is that Nuzlocking has kind of made the games replayable in such a special way, where each time you play the game, it's a new experience. You can either use new Pokemon, you can either use challenge rules, and ROM hacks have really changed the game for Nuzlockers. Especially with you play with the hardcore rule set. You have so much more difficulty, so much more just dimensions added to the puzzle of playing the game. And one of your the hardest runs that you've completed and that you've played is the Storm Silver run, right, where you played against you played Storm Silver, and Drayano was kind of a a trailblazer in this run for a long time. I mean, he had Renegade Platinum. He's got like is it Bolt Black? Is that one of them too? And then
Blaze Black and
Blaze Black,
Bolt
yeah.
White, yeah.
Yeah. So he's got. I mean, he kind of started the game in this sphere. And so I mean, we played Renegade Platinum, and then we've also played like Renegade, not Renegade Red, Radical Red, and like Elite Redux and things like that. And so, kind of tell me, like, what do you think, like, from seeing things from like the OG himself, Drayano, seeing those kind of ROM hacks versus maybe some of the new ones like Emerald Kaizo. We got you've done Run and Bun, things of that nature. Like, how what do you think ROM hacks have done for the community itself, and then also kind of seeing the feel of a different ROM hack versus another, and like what things you like, dislike, or experiences you've had with all of them.
Yeah. So it's actually funny. I would group Emerald Kaizo into, obviously it's like really, really hard. Like, but I would group it into the same category as the Dorado games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Only for the simple fact that um I consider them to be like the pre uh, Nuzlocke Explosion ROM hacks.
Yeah.
Because those games have a completely different vibe to them, and it's because they weren't made to be Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
So like Storm Silver, Blaze Black, Rising Ruby, Fire Red Omega, I think
I remember
is
Fire
like
Red Omega. Yeah, that's another one.
those are the Drayano games. Ren Plat, I don't think I said, but those games were meant to be enjoyed by anybody and everybody. That like Ren
Mm-hmm.
Plat is so interesting because and I whenever people ask me what like their first ROM hack they should play is like I usually suggest Fire Red Omega because it's the easiest one, but then Storm Silver and Ren Plat are right next to it.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
reason is because those games allow you to really like set the difficulty setting on your own. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you open up Ren Plat, like you can go in there with standard Nuzlocke rules and you can have a good time. It's not a super difficult Nuzlocke,
Mm.
but the reason it's not super difficult is because you have access to these gift mons that are just insane.
Yeah.
Like you get access to
Mhm.
all the starters. You get access to Metagross just like as like free. Here you go.
Yeah.
Like Togekiss. You get all these really cool Pokemon that are really really useful and really really interesting and really really help you like set a foundation for okay, these are good encounters for Nuzlocke runs. Like, and
Mhm.
here's how I can use them effectively. Um, so then what ends up happening is after the Nuzlocke explosion, you have all these games start coming out that are meant to be Nuzlocke. Like that's their
Mm-hmm.
entire.
Yeah.
Like that's why they were
Mission.
made. And not that I've talked with Deck about Run and Bun before, and Run and Bun is supposed to be like enjoyed for fun as well. And you can play it just for fun. It is still just a difficult good time. But that game was built with the intention of okay, how can I make this hard for Nuzlockers?
Yeah.
Radical
Mhm.
Red. Radical Red's actually a really interesting example because that's a game that's actually changed over time.
It's changed a lot.
Instead of
Yeah.
instead of being this stagnant, like, oh, you have Pokemon Radical Red, it released in 2016, and it's what it is.
Yeah.
You have this game that is worked on and updates once a year, every other year. Definitely
Mm-hmm.
updates whenever a new generation comes out because it's got Generation 9 mons in it.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and that game used to be in the old school games with with Storm Silver and Emerald Kaizo that wasn't made for Nuzlocking, and Supercell went out of his way to make minimal grinding mode, to make hardcore mode, which are deliberately built for Nuzlockers. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it's been really cool seeing the progression of Rom Hacks over time, and yeah, and I could go on forever, guys. I'll stop
No,
there.
dude.
Keep
No, this
going,
is
bro.
great, man. This
Keep
is what we
going.
want to
That's what
hear.
we hear, man.
It is crazy though, like how no, you're right because I'll be pretty tapped into like what people are playing, just people I'm subscribed to or people I'm watching or stuff that I'm just like curious on playing myself, and it does feel like in the last like 2.5 whatever years, the vibes of the game, and that's again like you said, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just it's just a matter of the fact that some of these games now are clearly geared toward this community that's exploded, and has a lot of diverse voices and a lot of different play styles and stuff like that, and yeah, because I remember when we first attempted Logan, when we first attempted Rad Red, this was like early 2021 or like late 2020. It's because it was before we did Renegade
Yes.
Platinum, right? We're like we tried
Yep.
it for a little bit and then we stepped back and like, hey, let's try and do because we were trying to Soul Link for the first time, and obviously Soul Link is a whole different ball game than just Nuzlocking when you're by yourself. So yeah, and they were like, and then they had a couple updates for Rad Red, and then so I was like, oh, I'm gonna update and then start playing through it by myself in my own time, and I'm like, this is a completely different game now. Which that's
Yeah.
not a bad thing at all. It's like, oh, this is great, a lot of quality of life updates, a lot of cool, new encounters, new generation, and everything like that. But it's cool to hear you talk about like how things have evolved over the years because they definitely have, and it's changed the game. I feel like there's like really something for everyone out there, like so many options to choose from if you want to play something, whether it's casually, if you do want to do a Nuzlocke. So,
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too to kind of see how the community's voices changed too towards some of these ROM hacks too. Like Rad Red initially, kind of like how you mentioned, it wasn't made to be Nuzlocke, but people still tried, and there was always the cry saying, "Oh, this is an unnuzlockable game. There's no way it can be beaten as a Nuzlocke, right?" And then it got done, and that's one of the fun things I think is that it's kind of that dynamic of it. It's changing because the community has done things with the games that call for the the higher challenge. Like to say, let's give us more of what we love, and then but because of we beat the game, the creator came back and was like, okay, well let's give you all something harder, and so it's kind of like this back and forth between creator and community, and it makes it something that is something like so special. I feel like specifically Rad Red in that light as well, but also like we're playing Elite Redux right now, and that one, you know, has gotten some updates. And even one of the fun things is that like Renegade Platinum a few years back also got like a fairy type update where you can add that into the game, which is kind of a unique aspect. And so, like, and I mean, you got creators like Shady Penguin, who's been streaming, you know, Radical Red since 2021, and he doesn't stop. And he's doing other things, you know, like with it. Like he's just continued to play this game where it's like been, you know, a big portion of his content for a long time. And so, like, Rom Hacks themselves have, I feel like, are just so special in this kind of journey of a Nuzlocker's life, where it's like you almost like have to be like, eventually I got to get to Radical Red and see if I can do it myself. Eventually I have to get to Emerald Kaizo, see if I can do it myself, you know, and just kind of see like, you know, where you fit in and get in this gladiator pit of Nuzlockers and seeing what, you know, we can do.
Yeah. Radical Red is a beautiful, beautiful nightmare. It's just
It is.
I spent a long time trying to dissect. There was an update called Radical Red 3.1, and it
Yeah.
was the update for Generation 8 plus. Like it was like Hisuian forms were in there, but like it was still like it wasn't Gen 9 yet, and it just that game was super interesting to me, because no one like jumped on to play it, but I was one of like a few people playing it, but the people who were playing it were like getting absolutely trampled. Like it was
Yeah.
like they, with the next update that came out, they actually they made it easier for Nuzlockers. They were like, okay, we went too far. We need to come
Wow.
back.
Well,
It's crazy.
So yeah, Radical Red's a behemoth. It's a good time.
It's a fun time, man. It's a really good one, yeah. And it's just cool to see how it's evolved. And that's one of the ones I watched you do was the 3.1 update and all your videos on that. And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's insane, man. Like, yeah, you know, you think you have something figured out. I feel like I've come a long way with my skill set, and then I'll try something, or I'll watch someone do something, and I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like, there's no shot. It's crazy.
The computer knows, like not just no, listen.
It knows, man.
Not only what moves you're gonna use, but also what item you're holding, what moves you also have in your inventory.
Oh my
Like
gosh, yeah.
like if you're switching into a Pokemon, it knows you're gonna switch into a Pokemon. So dude, it's broken as all anything. I remember there's this one particular play, there's this one particular nightmare of a situation. I would spend it would take me hours to get back to where my personal best was. I think I got the Koga a couple times.
Yeah.
And that Koga fight is a
it was
monster.
brutal.
You got Hoopa and some other crazy, like, why does he's got like one of the Curums or something, like it's insane. It's like the 6th gym leader. It's like 3 more. I don't know. So anyways, I'm up to him, and there's a Brendan fight right before that.
Oh, yep. At the Safari Zone, right?
Yes. And he opens, I think, could be wrong, but I think he opens with Greninja, which is fine. You get it. You at the time you were getting a gift Sceptile in Silphco, so you get that gift Sceptile. That's your answer to Greninja. We ball, we move on. Like that's it. And it had a focus sash, but if you evolved, one, you were no longer slower, you were now faster. And two, Bullet Seed was a guaranteed kill. It was focus sash, Bullet Seed kills, now faster. This is great. And so I went in the first time, knocked it out, great. Ran into another problem in the fight. I think I lost there, and I was like, you know what? I'm coming back. I'm gonna go into the same strat, and I did. Except the problem was I didn't account for the fact that I needed the exact same moveset that I had before in order to get the AI to do the exact same thing. I forgot Bulldoze tile, which should not have been important because I was never going to click it, except because I didn't have Bulldoze, switched in because it knew that it resisted all of my moves. And
it's insane, dude. You're like,
dude, and then like Greninja comes back out and just sweeps my whole team. Like
And
that.
you weren't
Like
ready
that's
for
what
it.
happens.
And you weren't situated for it. Dude.
No, I'm like I have like that's not predictable.
You're
What
like,
am I supposed to do with that? Garbage.
dude,
So,
I think I remember the first I encountered the AI like that in that game. It's especially like wacky with the damage reducing berries. Because I was like,
Mhm.
okay, man, I have a mon that's like, I can't remember the exact interaction was or what the fight was, but I just remember it was like, hey, I'm like quad weak to fire, so I'm gonna rock an Aka berry. I'll take one hit and then I can run the rest of the team or something like that. And then I send it out and he just doesn't click the fire move, and I'm like, I mean, how do you know I have the fire damage reducing berry, dude? Like, what are you doing? You're supposed to hit me with a fire move, dude. I'm quad weak to
yeah.
fire, and then I lose the fight because of it because it completely threw everything else off. It's just like.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's just not fair, man. You're not supposed to see what I have. You're not supposed to know what my moveset is. And then I'm not supposed to, you're supposed to play around me, man. I'm supposed to, it's
Yeah.
just like not the other way around. So, that's fun.
That's awesome. I think that's probably one of like the like the under what's the underrated or like the underlearned skills of like that like you don't know you need to develop is understanding how AI works in a lot of situations, and with those ROM hacks it's a different game. I
You
mean, I
never know,
remember, so
man.
Josh and I with our Renegade Platinum runs, I remember our second or third time through, we were going up against our Gardenia, and is that her name, Gardenia? Is that right? The second gym leader.
Yeah,
Yes.
good in you.
So there's so many grass gym leaders, and we learned that substitute was completely broken. Like the AI had no idea what to do with substitute, and so like
It became a free
you just
fight
go
like
in.
every time.
Like if you could get like because we always tried to get a bug pair make together, like a Butterfree and something else, because then you could do some stuff to get set up well enough because once you pass the sub from your EV thing, and so that's the thing, is that like learning those little things, but then having the AI like that's part of the journey too, is understanding like certain situations where you're like, is it gonna, like we learned in Renegade Platinum 2, it's like, what do you do when you're low life and your opponent's low life? Do they heal or do they kill you? Like what is the option here? And so it's like one of those crucial moments and that crucial skill that you have to develop to be able to be like, this could get me out of the sticky situation scot free, or it could ruin everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and this is hilariously just like another thing that comes back to Emerald Kaizo, because up until Emerald Kaizo's, well, it comes back to Emerald Kaizo. It comes back to that same time period, where Emerald Kaizo is taking off in popularity. Pokemon Challenges is taking off in popularity,
Mhm.
and because that game was so hard, like you really like people were really digging their teeth into it to try and figure out like all these different strategies.
Yeah.
And so uh, AI manipulation became the name of the game. I mean, no one had ever Nuzlocked a game that hard, so it was like,
Yeah.
okay, so now we need to know every single bit about this game, because the only way that anybody was winning was knowing what was going to be used next, but also knowing what Pokemon was coming out next, and trying to accommodate for that.
Mhm.
I mean, you'd have teams of 6, and you've got like it opens with Nidoking, and then in the back you have Nidoqueen, Tyranitar, Swampert, Sceptile, Blaziken, and it's like, okay, I need to know which one of these is coming out next, because I need to prepare for that, because all of these 5 Pokemon are going to absolutely slam me with whatever they decide to use. And if I'm not ready for exactly what's coming out, like I'm going to be a step behind. So in order to get the advantage there, you had to dig into the AI. I remember one of my favorite things that I've seen transpire. The number one strategy for Tate and Liza there used to be double boom. You explode the first turn with like a Weezing or something.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Second turn you explode with Gengar, and that's the strat. That's the number one strat. You get 4 kills right off the jump. And then I think it was Drew DRXX
Yeah.
who manipulates the AI into exclusively targeting one side while he sets up 6 growths with a Sunflora.
Okay, I think I've
And then
seen this. Yeah.
and then he uses Giga Drain to sweep Tate and Liza. And that's the strat. And it's like,
What?
like, yeah,
Yeah. What?
like we're bringing this plant that no one uses for anything to
Uh-huh.
the most important fight of the game because AI manipulation allows you to do that. So it's really cool seeing what people can do, and
Mhm.
it's become a mainstay in understanding new ROM hacks and new games, dude. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's so
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Dude, the sec I remember that when I was first getting like introduced to all this, the second I saw people doing like pre-damaging or pre-statusing before fights to get like certain manips on stuff, like to get to be
Yep.
targeted by a mon or to draw out a certain move or to draw out. I know because I know one of the most interesting things, not only for I mean specifically with EK was talking about like the Switch AI as well, like what will come out next and how you can manipulate something to like have the enemy team come out in a certain order. And I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, man, this is it's so cool. I thought it was like the most fascinating thing in the entire world. So, so I wanted to ask you now. So one of the cool things, obviously, this went pretty popular because Peach Out posted it, but the race that you guys did versus the speedrunners, that was a really fun video. Tell us about that and the insights that you gained from that. I'm not sure what I was expecting. I guess I was kind of expecting the speedrunners to maybe just like with the overworld movement to kind of just plow through and maybe make up for any sort of in battle knowledge. But no, you guys pulled it out. So tell us more about that. That was a really fun. That was a really fun video.
Yeah. So I mean, to be honest, like the speedrunners were dependent on a plan. The Nuzlockers, it was actually really funny. We talked about this during the live stream, but the speedrunners were in the speedrunners chat,
Okay.
and there was a private Discord chat for speedrunners and a private chat for Nuzlockers that was set up days before the event. And the speedrunners were theory crafting the whole time, like they were getting ready for this event because everything that a speedrunner does is super calculated.
Right. Right.
Like literally every decision they make is super like, okay, I thought about this beforehand. And even like late game stuff, when you watch a speedrunner go, they are prepared for it. They're ready
Right.
for it, and they know exactly what they're going to do at every point in the game. The Nuzlockers chat was relatively unused outside of like Flygon and Squirk and I like just like saying hi to each other, like and like making stupid jabs and jokes. Like it
Yeah.
was nothing. Uh, it was ridiculous. Um, and uh, and yeah, and so that race, I think people expected this. People, I mean, the hosts and I think generally the consensus was okay. Speedrunners win this because they're more calculated. They they move faster. Um, and both of those are true. What ends up happening is um, I don't think the speedrunners were prepared for things to go wrong. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't think that they were as familiar with how to right the ship as Nuzlockers are when things go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because I mean, me, Squirk, and Flygon, things go wrong every single day. And not that things don't
Right.
go wrong in speedrunning, but when things go wrong in speedrunning, like it does. One, it doesn't matter if you lose. Two, like if you wipe, like I don't know, but like you just go back into the fight again. It's a speedrun,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like you're just trying to get the time down. And then like or you just reset, which I guess like Nuzlockers do too. But like
It's different
we
though.
it's definitely different. And like I don't know, like an example of something that happened, like the first fight, like Roxanne, like the speedrunners cleared it with one Mon, and like they
Mhm.
hadn't leveled up anybody else in their party, and that was
Yeah.
what they did. And it was
Yeah.
like that's cool, but like me, Squirk, and Flygon, we leveled up 6 Mons to go fight 3 Pokemon in Roxanne,
Yeah.
and we were like, yeah, because we might need it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
um, so but like that was consistent throughout the run. I mean, I did wipe. I lost because I went into a fight unprepared.
Which fight was it again? I can't remember.
Tate and Liza.
That's right. Yeah. That's
I
right.
forgot. I forgot that Zatu had Sunny Day, and so I was like, I'm gonna go in there and use a rain move, and then use Weather Ball with Cast Form,
And that'll be
which
good.
was a garbage strat to begin with, but it was funny. And um, work out.
It didn't work. Yeah,
But no, it was fun. And then Flygon
he brought it home though.
was great. I always high roll in my Nuzlocks. I think it's so much fun to just like do like the less consistent, funnier strat.
Oh yeah, dude.
So I was able to do that a lot. Um, uh, it's not even like a content thing. It's like my own enjoyment. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
not like I'm
yeah,
not doing it like for anybody. I'm doing it because it's like I think this is the silliest way to win.
yeah.
Uh, so the rollout strats I used multiple times. I think I
So
used it for
good.
Winona and for Flan. Um, I'm doing a trash lock thing right now with Pokemon Emerald, and I'm using rollout strats again. Like that, it's so
Dude,
funny.
it's the best. Yeah,
The speedrunners versus Nuzlockers thing was great.
that's
I was
awesome.
stoked. I was stoked that Jan reached out to have me on it. And
That's so cool.
those two Nuzlockers are a couple of my best friends on the platform, Squirk and
And
Flygon. So
Flygon.
to get an opportunity to work with them, was always good. Um,
That's
yeah,
awesome, man.
it was a good time. It was a good time.
That's so cool.
Love it. Hey Josh, real quick, do you want to? I don't know if you want to pause it. I'm having issues with my mic, real quick. So just one sec. I need to fix
Okay.
something just real quick.
Yeah, I can pause it. Yeah, no problem, man.
A few moments later.
What's our cat's name?
Her name's Luna.
Your cat's the resident Skitty. We love
she's
her. She's fun.
She's our little our Lipard. So little glammy out girl. Actually, there's someone
All
I watch
right.
who does stuff as well, and he has a cat. I think he named his cat Esper, and I was like, that's such
Oh,
a good name.
really?
Actually, it's actually kind of a cute name. So,
That's funny.
anyways, yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Sorry. Getting back into it. Get back into fun conversation here. So you've also recently kind of come back off of a sleep is for the weak lock, where your goal was to push through 9 generations of games in 7 days. Talk to us about how that grind was, and kind of compared to other challenges you've done. How was that? How and I know it was kind of like a early New Year fun challenge that you did. So
Yeah, the Sleepers for the Week lock is. I mean, it's a fun challenge. I like it. I started it 2 years ago. It's supposed to be 8 generations in 7 days. Um, I don't think that I was honestly. I don't think that I was like skilled enough at the time to get that done.
Yeah.
I think that like I was still kind of starting out and like didn't really understand things. Last year I tried it again. I basically do it every year, or at least I have for the last 3 years. I probably want to keep that tradition going. Um, this year, I mean, it's a fun challenge. This year we were able to get to Generation 7. And what's funny is you'd think it wouldn't be like a super hard challenge, especially for somebody who like plays like Rom Hacks and stuff.
yeah.
But like I don't know, like I think that when you play the vanilla games after playing like insane ROM hacks all the time,
Yeah.
you kind of like it's very easy to turn your brain off.
Oh
It's
yeah.
very easy to be
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, like I'm too good for vanilla games. Like I can beat this with my eyes closed. Wrong, wrong. Some of those fights are in a couple of Elite Fours. I lost to Cynthia. I lost to. Did I lose to Drake? Well, the other part of it that was interesting was I decided to, if I champed them on, I was no longer allowed to use it throughout the rest of the
Okay.
series.
Oh, okay.
So, incentivized to bring like garbage mons to the Elite Four, because like I'm trying to think of Pokemon that like I deliberately delayed. So like, for example, I started out using Kadabra in Gen 1,
Yeah.
which you wouldn't think would be a mon that I'd have to save, but that's a really good Pokemon to have in Gen 2, and plus it's a gift mon, so like it's guaranteed, and it does a number on the Elite Four there. So I went from using Kadabra to using Hypno in Gen 1.
Yeah.
Who actually is really sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hypno in Gen 1 is broken. Don't know if anyone knew that, but
It is.
wild. they ruined Hypno in Gen 2. So glad it was able to show out in Gen 1.
It's awesome.
But then, yeah, as you go on, you have less Pokemon access.
Mhm.
And then if I lose a Pokemon too, I also ban it.
Mm-hmm.
So deaths are super duper devastating.
Right.
Yeah, the Sleepers for the Week Lock is I thought it was a fun idea. It's a fun event for the community. People like to see their favorite games get revisited, I think. And I also think it's a break from the meta, which is nice. Everybody's playing Run and Bun right now. I think right now it's Sterling Silver. I haven't played it. I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Same
Probably
here.
gonna hop on it today, but yeah. Sleepers for the Week Lock was fun. I don't know. Have you guys? How many vanilla games have you guys Nuzlocke?
Vanilla.
We've actually
Well, personally, I've done.
personally,
Yeah, Logan, you
yeah.
go.
I was gonna say I've done a couple. I've done Crystal, Fire Red, and then Pokemon Yellow. I think just for fun. Those the first games that I played growing up. So gotten into those ones. But Soul Link wise, we've actually only ever done hardcore or Rom Hacks on the hardcore rule set. But what about you, Josh?
Yeah, I've done Emerald and Black, just for vanilla games myself. So
All right,
yeah,
those are the best ones, to be honest.
yeah,
Those two.
yeah, dude. I think Emerald's like the quintessence. Like if someone asked me, I'm like, if you have any sort of game knowledge or nostalgia or love for Emerald, just do Emerald.
Yeah.
I bet it's a pretty safe one. And then I love the Gen 5 games. So I did and Black was the one I really enjoyed growing up. So I ran through Black again because it had been a while. And I wanted to do a Gen 5 focus. Because obviously Black, pre-Nat Dex, it's only Unova Mons. So I was like, I want to do some Gen 5 love and rock those. So yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. I actually think Emerald might be the perfect first Nuzlocke. If that's the game you grew up on, or if that's a game that you know really well, I just think all of the fights in that game, there's no easy ones.
They're fun.
Okay, Roxanne's pretty easy, but outside of Roxanne, Brawly can send you home. Brawly, I think, is one of the hardest.
Brawly's tough,
gyms
man.
in all of every generation. Brawly, Watson's tough.
Flannery's tough.
Flan's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Flan is overheat spam. I don't know
It's insane,
what
man.
they were thinking, but it's so funny and it's so hard. Watson is just electric shockwave spam, which is fine. It feels like it shouldn't be that big of a deal, except the only ground types you get access to up to that point are if you chose Marshtomp, you get Marshtomp, and then Geodude if you Rock Smash. I think you can't get it in any. Oh, I guess you can get it in Granite Cave. So Geodude.
Yeah.
Who else?
Yeah, I think that's it.
That might be it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you get Barboach later, but you need Super Rod, so it's not valuable for Watson. Yeah, those are your two ground types, and if you don't get them, good luck. You need resists, and your resists are Grovyle, who statistically does not resist anything. That thing's a snowflake. And then Oddish, I guess.
If you want, sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's a really, really interesting game. Norman's hard.
Norman's
hard. Tate and Liza is your first double battle challenge, and double battles in Nuzlocke are just insane.
Brutal.
So yeah, I've lost Tate and Liza more times than I can count.
And not to mention that Emerald, I mean, I think they specifically added in a few more extra double battles in trainer battle. And not those are incredibly deadly, but if you get caught in those and when you're not expecting it, it can be a problem. And I also feel like that one you have to have a lot of game knowledge as to where your rival pops up, because I feel like I forget all the time. Oh yeah, my rival should show up here. And like you mentioned, I think the rival is actually a pretty difficult challenge with Wally too. You have kind of those two dynamics going on, but both of them are pretty challenging if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, Wally and Victory Road definitely has some sauce in that.
Oh yeah.
One, the Calm Mind Gardevoir, and two, the assist Delcatty.
Delcatty, yeah.
Delcatty shouldn't be any sort of respectable, but
yeah.
it it's scary because like, what's it gonna use? You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh,
Like assist Thunderbolt, like maybe I don't know.
Is my run
And
just
then
over right now? Maybe, I guess. Yeah.
and then Dragon Dance Altaria is the opener.
Uh-huh.
yep.
So yeah, Wally's definitely. I will say you do get to overlevel a little bit for Wally because the
hmm
Elite Four cap is significantly higher than Wally's is, but and then May of course is its own challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, the spots she does. I think the one before Watson's probably the hardest one.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
That's at the most awkward point in the game where you don't have a lot of resources and her team is kind of respectable.
Hmm.
I know that specific fight is a speedrunner's nightmare.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really fun game and a really interesting Nuzlocke. So
I agree. Yeah, I think it's a really solid one to do for sure. So I want to ask you, so before we kind of hop into like we have like our rapid fire round and we have like our shower thoughts section as well, where we just ask like miscellaneous questions and stuff like that. But one more thing to ask you is kind of like a general Nuzlocking advice thing. So you tell us about like, you know, Nuzlocks are high pressure. There's crucial moments like in basically every boss fight almost, especially if you're playing difficulty Rom Hacks. Um, what general Nuzlocking tips would you give to someone, whether that's something about team building for a boss fight, just battle tactics, being able to adapt mid battle, running damage calcs for like everything or whatever. Like what would you tell someone who's trying to improve, whether they are playing vanilla games and they're pretty new to it, or whether someone who has been playing for a little bit but they feel like they've kind of hit a wall and they can't get past certain obstacles in a run?
yeah, so I mean, I mean, I think it really depends on what game you're playing for like
Mhm.
specific advice. I will say, general team building, immunities are great.
Yeah.
And when I say that it kind of depends on what game you're playing, immunities are more valuable in some games than others. Um,
hmm
your standard vanilla games, immunities can be huge um, because the AI typically isn't super strong, and so you can usually stall out things. Like if you have like I don't know, like a Jumpluff and a Bastiodon on your team, and the Pokemon you're going up against only has like poison and ground moves, like you can pivot there and
Yeah.
completely stall it out of its moves. And if you can stall it out of its moves, you can kill it. Like
Mhm.
that's always perfect. But obviously Radical Red will beat you up if you do that.
As we've
They'll
noted. Yeah.
yeah, they will use Earthquake on your Jumpluff. Um,
In your life.
so yeah,
That's
that also doesn't work in Gen 1. Gen 1, they get to move. If they move second, they get to choose their move second. So just a heads up.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's probably like my number one general rule. I guess if you're looking to get better at nuzlocking, the number one thing is probably just watching film. Like,
Mhm.
like there's nothing more beneficial than like understanding the different strategies that have been used to overcome different obstacles and then being able to apply it
hmm
to the fight in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go back to the Sunflora example. The Sunflora example for Tate and Liza is really interesting because you use a typically garbage mon to be one of the hardest fights in the entire series, or
Yeah.
in Rom hacking history. The Tate and Liza fight with Larios and whatever else. Sunflora should not be able to do that.
Yeah.
But if you look at that, then you can say, okay, I understand that if I have certain ranges, that I can invite certain things to happen from the AI, and then be able to play around that. And so you can kind of apply that to any fight. Um, so even I mean I know the rollout strats are mean, but like look at fights. Can I use a rollout strat here? Like
Yeah.
consider that that's an option. I think that having this kind of storage in your brain of like all the different like tools that you know how to use um, is invaluable. And
Yeah.
I think that watching Jan's videos, watching Drew's videos, watching Moxie, Squirrel, Crowdy, um, name your Nuzlocker, watching them do what they're doing, and understanding what they do will put you in a position where you can then, apply those to your own Nuzlocks and then get innovative after that. Yeah, I think that's probably the best two pieces of advice I can give you.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, I think those are that's like you said. I know every game is different, and a lot of advice you can give is going to be dependent on what you're playing and what you're specifically fighting against. But I feel like as far as general advice, that's probably the biggest thing that's helped me is just watching people. I mean, I know at first I was exposed to Peach Owl watching Yon forever, and then I was like exposed to other Nuzlockers and other people playing, and I was like, I think that's probably I mean, it's probably the best thing that's helped me out was just watching people play the game and hearing them talk through their strategies and their thought processes, and that on top of getting exposure to the actual film of the game itself. I think that's a great piece of advice and a great resource for people out there to get into that. So, nice, man. Well, we have kind of some fun sections to finish things off on. Again, we have like a rapid fire round. These questions are going to be Radical Red specifics. I know that you're familiar with the game, so we're going to ask you what the hardest fight is for each of the following categories, and just off the top of your head, think of what gave you the biggest the biggest problem. So,
Okay.
I got Logan and I will alternate here. So I got the first one here for Radical Red. What is the hardest rival fight?
Hardest rival fight?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that Brendan Safari Zone one. I don't think my initial. Well, okay. When you say rival fight, going up against the rival or fighting with a rival in it, because I can think of the tag fight is my number one. Then
Yeah. No, you can include those too. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I haven't done the cerulean one. So supposedly there's a cerulean one that's really hard. I don't know. Maybe. I'm actually. I don't think so. The Silphco one, the Silphco tag battle is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Caveat of if you have a good strategy going in, it's kind of just a coin flip. So I don't know that that's hard or if it's just like RNG heavy. The fight before that, where you fight, I want to say it's blue that you fight.
Yes.
When you fight that rival, that one's really interesting and difficult. I think you need a lot of different checks for that fight. I think that the opening Azelf with explosion and focus sash is scary. It also has rocks. Those rocks can be devastating. So I'd probably err on the side of that fight as opposed to the Silphco fight, which I think is more just RNG.
Yeah.
I don't think RNG equals difficulty. So I'm gonna stick with that one. Stick with that. That's my answer. The fight before the tag fight.
Nice.
I like that. That's specifically a tough spot, or hits us at home, because I think that's where we lost our run, was that on that rival fight. And I think it's because one of the main reasons we lost it is because we were doing a randomized run when we did it, and we hit when we got there we forgot which starter we chose, so we went in with the wrong information first of all.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And if you're going in unprepared to that fight, it's over. Like it's gonna take you to town and make you know who's boss.
And that's what it did.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, the next one is gonna be the hardest Elite Four fight.
Trying to remember. So the only time that I fought the Elite Four, okay, I didn't fight it on hardcore mode. I fought it on normal mode in my lizard only run. I remember. I haven't fought it that many times, guys. I remember. The champion fight was insane.
Yeah.
With the Yveltal and I think Pheromosis in there. I'd probably err on the side of the champion fight. I will say, going into Lorelei's double battle with Kyogre and Mega Swampert is pretty insane. But yeah, I'll stick with the champion though. The champion's pretty tough.
It's insane. That's like
a pretty safe choice.
they like They it's they just gave him all the tools.
Dude, yeah, which is great. Like the champion fights of these games are really fun because like it's like okay, like it's a throwaway fight. Like I can
Yeah.
sacrifice my
Yep.
whole team here. Everybody
Yep.
dies, and I got one Pokemon alive. We're good. So, like I like that, but damn, it's a hard fight.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't. Whenever I see Ultra Beast, I just like get nervous because I don't know. You're just one bad Beast boost away from getting swept, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know. I pucker a little bit whenever I see an Ultra Beast on a Rom Hack team, and I'm like, oh man, dude, I got to be careful. So, because yeah, you can't sack something on a unless you calc for it and you're in your prep for it. You can't sack on a Beast boost. So otherwise, you're in trouble. All right, next one I got for you. What's the hardest Giovanni fight?
hardest Geo fight. Trying to remember the Geo fights. It's a Geo fight in Silphco where he's got Regirock,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I believe it's Sandforce. Is it Mega? Is it Mega
Mega
Garchomp?
Kangaskhan.
Mhm.
Oh, it's
Oh, we
Mega
might have Mega
Kanga.
Garchomp in that one. I
Mega
think he's got
Kanga.
two.
Mega Kanga is definitely Game Corner, and I think
Yep.
it's Mega
mhm.
Chomp in
At Sylph.
that's Silph.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that either one is particularly easier than the other. Again, I really didn't get much in terms of hardcore mode. I didn't really play much past Koga, so I never saw the gym leader fight.
Mhm.
That opening in Fernape is a little weird for the first one, and then Mega Kanga can be absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
There's no real good check for it. I
Yeah.
mean, like if you wanted to go in with like a like an outright check where you don't have any immunities or anything, like then you need to risk the paralysis on walking in on body slam.
Yep.
Right.
But
Or just a basic setup too. Like I mean, if you get one power, if they get one power up punch on you, like whew.
yeah, I'm thinking about like historically, like I checked it with like Bull Rush, Hammer Arm, Embor, which you
Yeah.
needed to make
Mhm.
a jolly nature because you wouldn't outspeed. Like, dude, like the nuance that went into it. Then you needed to give it a black belt because it wouldn't kill. Um, oh my god, it was insane.
Yeah, dude.
So that was tough. That Kanga, and then, like I said, that opening in Fernape was also tough, just because it was sashed and you
Right.
wanted to kill it without letting it get rocks up, but like that was nearly impossible. Um, because it's again a jolly nature, outspeeds everything that has ever lived. Um, and then I'd probably err on that one being harder.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel like the second one's a box check. Like if you don't have the tools, like it sucks. But like, I just think I think more things can go wrong in that first fight. Whereas in
Mhm.
that second fight, it's a lot more calculated. Like you have answers or you don't.
Right.
Yeah, especially after the double battle and the rival fight right before. Like,
Yeah,
like I think it really depends on how you're doing from those first two fights. Like, if you go through those first two fights pretty well, you should have. I mean, you should have a pretty good box for that one.
yeah. I guys, I totally forgot how well I knew this game, and I'm just like, I can remember every single Pokemon
I
on
love it,
all of
dude.
these teams. Oh my god.
That's awesome. That's why I wanted to ask you about this game because I'm like, dude, I'm fairly certain that he knows this game in and out. So it's
Yeah, I do. I'm
yeah,
like, who's on Geo 1, dude? Infernape, Gyarados, Kangaskhan, Nidoking. Oh, I'm missing Torterra.
yeah, Torterra too,
Um,
dude. Shell Smash Torterra.
one more, was it just 5? It might have been just 5. I know they got no, it was Still Valley. It was Still Valley. That's the 6th one.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
I know when they updated it 4.0, they swapped out I think Torterra and Silvally for Earthworm and something else. I forget what the other one is.
I think
But
it's Garganacl.
You're right. Yep, it's Garganacl.
ooh, Jarganical. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So
I love Garganacl.
that thing's nasty, dude. It's not fun to fight. We just did we have like a draft league as well off to the side with some friends. and Logan had that on his team this past season, and
Oh,
it's just
it
not
was
fun. So
so
annoying to fight.
fun.
Yeah, you can't kill that thing. It's just
You
alive
can't, dude.
forever.
Well, and
So.
then they just decided to give it like the most ridiculous ability ever. Like, I swear, like the Pokemon Company like heard about Rom Hacks and like all these custom abilities, and they just gave it Purifying Salt, so no status, and then resists ghost moves. And I'm like, where'd that even come from, dude? Like,
Well,
how'd you guys make that up?
and one of my favorite strats with it too is that because it's two abilities are purifying salt and then it's got clear body, and so you do purifying salt in specific situations. If you can give it the clear amulet, then you got both abilities active at the same time, so it's got all the tools ready to go for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
dude.
wonderful.
That's awesome.
I
You got the last one.
I think let's I think we can get into the shower thoughts now.
Okay,
So these are
cool.
kind of like the kind of the fun random Pokemon thoughts we have in our head throughout the day, we all, because that's it's all we think about, it's all we do. So this was specifically with Josh, is that we saw your legendary, Josh mentioned this one to me, where we saw your legendary Pokemon that you can beat up tier list. Break that down for us and tell us why you would kill some of these and why you'd be killed.
Dude, okay, all right. I don't remember all my answers.
I have it pulled up right here.
Send it to me. I need to see this.
Here, I'll drop the link to the tweet in here. But so for those who can't see, it's a tier list of it's you, Moxie, and Drew made a tier list of legendary Pokemon that you can beat in a fight. The tiers are would kill us, then there's 1% chance for a W, then there's unlikely win, there's 50-50, there's likely win, and then there's we clap. And dude, there's some funny ones. Here, I'll drop it in here if you want to look at it again. But the reason this made me laugh was because
if you look to the bottom right there, Whacko, it's on the chat there in
Yep.
Riverside.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Awesome.
dude.
Yeah,
this
no
made me
worries.
laugh because so with some of the guys in the draft league, we also have like a just for fun podcast for the guys in the league, and we have a section where we do like a legendary cage fight kind of thing. It's not like where we would beat up the legendary Pokemon. We just pit two legendary Pokemon together and like completely ignoring game mechanics and typings. We just say like which Pokemon would kill the other one. So when I saw this just made me crack up because I see like like I just like Shaman and we clap and I can just picture you like drop kicking a Shaman and it's just like gone. It's just gone. It's just erased from existence. And then obviously there's something that go without saying when you look at who would kill us. I mean, you just get like annihilated by, I mean, pretty much any of the big ones.
All
so
of
I
them.
mean,
All of them.
yeah. So tell us about some of the funny ones or any of those that kind of stood out to you because these were cracking me up thinking about them.
No, so okay. For the most part, Drew and Moxie were like, well, Drew was very confident. Drew was our, how do I say, voice of unreason. Like he was like, yeah, like honestly, guys, I don't even need you guys. Like I can beat this by myself, and which was garbage.
It's so funny.
But no, so Ready JP was the host of that. He's a great dude, and he makes cool Pokemon content. But he basically would give us, he gave us the guards of like the guidelines of like how we'd fight, and it was like, okay, we get to choose the arena, and we get a week to prepare.
Okay.
So then it became, okay, can we think of ridiculous ways that we can either outsmart or beat these Pokemon in a fight? Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was, for the most part, I was like, guys, we are not going to lose, guys. This was not, where's Cubfu? Where's Cubfu on this list?
Cubfu is in we clap.
That was a big topic of contention.
Yeah,
Cubfu, dude. I was like, guys, it's literally a Pokemon built for fighting. Like,
yeah.
I don't care that it's 3 feet tall. We are getting our butts kicked. It has superpowers. And Drew is like, I could beat this by myself, personally. Like, I will
No way,
take care
dude.
of it.
No way.
Yeah, that's what I said. As I said, and Moxie was like, I don't know, man. Drew feels pretty passionate about this. Guys, it's a legendary fighter, dude.
Well, here's my thing with that, man. I don't know how. So obviously, Urshifu, that goes without question that would kill you. But I don't get how the Cubfu to Urshifu disparity is weak lap to would kill. I feel like Cubfu, if it evolves into Urshifu, and that's like a no doubt would kill us. I feel like I don't know, maybe like 1% chance for the W, just because it's small. I don't know, maybe you like maybe you fall on it or something, and like you win just because you're a lot bigger than it. But I don't know, man. I feel like I'd be pretty terrified of like a 5-year-old toddler-sized martial arts superpower bear just running at you like it's Bruce Lee or something. That's terrifying.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
know.
I don't know. I cannot defend it. I don't.
That's so
And then
funny.
there was I mean, and then there's other ones. It's like Cosmo or Cosmo.
Yeah.
Cosmog's whatever. Cosmog, sure, fine.
Both of
You
them
beat that in
are
a fight.
both of the first form are down in the weak lap category. So yeah, both of them you got down there.
Cosmoem, first of all, would not be able to sit on top of like anything. Like it just is the heaviest Pokemon I think in the
Mhm.
entire series. So, I think that like our strategy was we need to like prepare some acid to beat it or something. Like it was like we need to melt it. Like
It's so
that's
funny.
I don't know how we're melting like Ultra Beast, but
So
we have
sadistic.
we had an idea. And then the electric types that are here, we were like, oh, if we wear rubber suits, like it won't be able to conduct electricity. It'll be fine. We just punch it. Like Zero Aura's got nothing on us. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
So funny.
then there were the other fun ones. Celebi, I thought was an interesting one. We thought that Celebi had like the least threatening, not the least threatening, but like one of the least threatening superpowers. It's like, what's it gonna do? Pick us up and bring us throughout time?
Right.
Like, fine. Like, I guess like the way it could kill us is feeding us dinosaurs. But then we were like, but like also the dinosaur could just eat Celebi.
Right.
Yeah.
So then it's basically a 50-50.
I
Like
love
either like it really depends on who the dinosaur eats.
Right.
If the dinosaur eats us, like obviously that's an L. But like if the dinosaur wants onion, like all right, word, like we won. I don't know.
I'm gonna make. I need
Yeah.
a shirt now that says the dinosaur eats us. Obviously, that's an L. I love that.
That sucks.
That's
Like,
awesome,
but
dude.
like, there's a chance though that like honestly, like if I was a dinosaur, and I looked at like me and like an onion, I'd probably eat the onion because that looks
Mhm.
the better for me, the dinosaur. So, well, I don't know. It depends on what the dinosaur's feeling.
I love it, dude.
I like it. And the thing is, I love the gamble. Like, it's because like it really is a gamble for like it's like is Celebi first of all gonna risk taking us to dinosaur times and feeding us there? Like,
Right?
and because the thing is, it also can't risk. I mean, it can't risk ice age stuff because it's gonna die too. It's ice. It's weak to ice. So
Right.
I like the. It's like I'll take the gamble there with that one. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah,
I got-
50-50.
I like it. I like it.
I gotta ask for one of the 1% chance for a W.
Yeah.
What's the 1% chance case for for Eternatus VMAX? I gotta know.
God, what was our? Oh my God, what was our reasoning?
I just laughed 'cause I see one of the replies on the tweet just says, "How are you guys gonna die to Meloetta but have a chance against Eternatus?"
Was it like a matter of like not we could come up with a suit that was able to survive inside of Eternatus? And so like the plan was to kill it from the inside.
I love it, dude.
Ooh,
I'm
And
down
we were
for it.
like, it probably doesn't work. Like it could though,
That's why it's 1%, man.
But if it works out, dude, how legendary is that, man? You kill it from the inside. That's awesome.
We felt like Meloetta specifically has its pirouette form. So like once it sings, like it just like bops the crap out of us. Like that's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Once that thing does its relic song and
Then you're
it
toast.
becomes a fighting type, like forget about it.
I love it.
That's amazing.
But yeah, no, Eternatus is an infinitely worse fighter. Just like
Yeah.
I feel like that its number one move is just like eat stuff. And like
Yeah.
that's fine. I get it, you're huge, you should do that. But like also, we have a fighting chance, right?
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I love it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think
yeah,
so.
thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cracking me up. It's good stuff. Last one we got for you. This will be a quick one for you. But what single stage Pokemon do you think deserves an evolution?
That's tough. There's a bunch.
Yeah.
Single stage Pokemon that deserves an evolution. I think it'd be cool if Cyclizar evolved into one of those two legendaries.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That'd be sick.
yeah, that'd be cool. I'm trying to think of other ones that would be cool. I don't know. I'm, to be to be honest, I'm kind of blanking on my single stage mons. I wouldn't go Zangoose or Survivor.
Yeah, they're good
Um,
as they are.
yeah, they're fine. I just feel like if you went one, you'd have to go the other two, and I just feel like they're whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Saul gets a mega evolution, so that's a miss. What are your answers to this? Oh, wait, you guys must have prepared answers.
Well, so
What's
we've
your
asked
go-to?
we've asked this one a few times, so we're always curious what people think. I think a big one we've heard a lot is Tropius. I think that's a
Yeah.
good one. And then I thought of like Heatmore or Durant or something. I guess I know they kind of go hand in hand. So that's another one where you'd have to do both of them. I've heard Turtonator before as well. Trying to think of something else. A lot of the ones from the earlier generations, they kind of went back and cleaned up, like obviously like Tangela or Chansey or Lickitung, whatever they've gone back, or Dunsparce, which they finally did. But Logan, do you have any off the top of your head?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned some of the ones that we said. We've also like sometimes people have also said some two stage, so like maybe Jinx should get an evolution, or like Sudowoodo or something like that too. So those are some of the ones that we've heard before.
Yeah,
I do like wait, I'm trying to remember what was the first one you said. I remember Zangoose and
Tropius.
Survivor. After that,
Oh, him.
Yeah, no. What Whacko said. I was gonna. I had a comment on it.
Absol?
Absol was. I think Absol would be a really cool one. I know it got a Mega Evolution, but it doesn't have access to it anymore. So it's
True.
like that would
True.
be kind of cool to see something like, I don't know, like because it's I don't even know what technically, like, it's kind of like reminds me of like Hippogriff kind of. I know it doesn't, like, it's not like a Hippogriff kind of thing, but it reminds me of those vibes. So like kind of going like Griffin or something with wings still, like kind of like mimicking the Mega Evolution would be super cool. That would be kind of fun. There's
Yeah.
some good ones. There's like there's also oh, I had it in my head. Like I think a pre-evolution for oh, what is it called? I just had it. I have the image. It's the normal dragon, not Cyclizar. You said Cyclizar originally. That's what it was.
Yep.
Is that Cyclizar could evolve? What's the other normal dragon? It's
Drampa?
Drampa. Like,
Yep.
I always thought like Dunsparce should evolve into Drampa, but now that it's got Dunsparce has its own evolution, I'm like, Dunsparce should get like a pre-evolution, or Drampa should get like a pre-evolution. I think that would be kind of cool too.
Yeah. I think my oh, okay. All right. My answer is gonna be okay. My first one's gonna be Manaphy. I think Manaphy with an evolution would be
Ooh.
sick.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yes, yes.
I think they could have done more with that. I thought that had more potential. I thought that should have been a better mod that was more. I think it's like adorable enough to be like, I don't know, like one of the faces of the Pokemon franchise. And
Yeah,
it's just like
it's not.
like it was super duper exclusive. They gave it a movie, I think.
Yeah, they did.
Um,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But it was super duper exclusive, and then bad and battling. So it was like, well,
It's like, okay.
oh, what'd be really fun is if they gave um some of the Pika clones. Some of the Pika clones.
Oh,
would be
yeah.
fun.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah.
Like imagine like if like Pachirisu was just like bigger and wider. It's
Yeah.
like kind of like a Greedent, but like not awful.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
like Pachirisu, I would like. But I think my favorite answer to this, and I don't know how they would do it. I don't have any plans. I really I have no suggestions at all. But if unknown could evolve,
Oh yeah,
Oh
dude.
could do.
yeah.
Dude,
I think
we've talked about some of those before. There's some like crazy like alternate form artworks online where people have done like they're like seraphim biblical looking like amalgamations of all these unknown. There's like some really cool like unknown
Ideas out
like if you
there.
search like unknown like evolution or unknown form or whatever. There's some like
looking.
cool one. Yeah, dude.
Oh my god, these
Yeah,
things
dude.
look like they're gonna. Oh my, they look terrifying. I kind of
I
like
know,
it
dude. That's
though.
what like the whole like
Dude, it evolves into a known. It goes from an unknown to a known. That's terrifying.
yeah, dude. There's some sick ones. Yeah, dude. They're so terrifying.
Uh, well, and the thing is, it's just unknown. Like, really does have so much untapped potential. It really is never. I mean, it was never competitive, like, or viably competitive, right? Like, and so it's just like giving it something just to make it like almost like a Magikarp, like where it's like it starts off like really a struggle, but then it gets into something that could
like
be really
insanely powerful.
viable,
Yeah.
has some
Yeah,
really cool lore behind it, and then like you said, just and like I don't know exactly how they do it, but like just something would be so cool for unknown. Like I'd love that too. I think it's a great answer.
yeah. I think that could be fun. That could be fun. Oh,
That's awesome. I love it. Well, we just want to thank you, man. We've really appreciated the time that you gave us to be able to talk about this, nerd out, geek out, also, talk about your, expertise and things like that. Before we wrap up, we just want to ask: is there anything else that you want to give you a second to plug anything that maybe is coming up for you, tease anything, and then before we wrap up, could you give the people some wisdom, whether that be life wisdom or Pokemon wisdom?
yeah. So I have a video coming out this upcoming weekend on
Nice.
Pokemon Ancestral X. If you guys haven't played the Rom Hack Ancestral X, go play it. It's a heck of a time. Whatever your favorite Pokemon is, it's been modified to be usable, which
Love
is
it.
cool. Yeah, they gave Magcargo Storm Drain, which is epic.
That's
Oh,
insane.
that's the
That's
best thing.
dope.
Yeah, it's really dope. So that's great. Yeah, I'm excited about that. So go check that out. Just plug with YouTube. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And then advice.
Or Pokemon. Either way.
or Pokemon advice. Both take risks. Life is more fun if you roll out.
I love that.
Yeah. 90% accuracy, but it's really cool. So whatever. Yeah.
That's dope, man.
I love it. Break through your life paralysis and roll out, baby. I love it.
Dude.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
again, man, we just want to say thank you. I mean, this has been so much fun. Really, really enjoyed the time with you here, and I'm really grateful that you gave it to us. Everybody out there, feel free to subscribe to Whacko's channel. Make sure you keep up with his stream stuff. He's got some fun stuff coming out. Likewise, keep up with us. We're going to be doing our Elite Redux Hardcore Soul Link continually for the next little while. It's our next big project, and that is such a fun game as well. Keep up with us for more interviews. And for right now, this is Logan, Josh, and Peter signing off. We'll see you guys.
See you, everyone.